A second chance at sunrise begins when hardworking single mother Maya Johnson applies for a janitor position at Horizon Innovations, only to discover the CEO is none other than Elijah Carter, her childhood sweetheart who disappeared from her life 12 years ago. But is this unexpected reunion merely coincidence? Or has fate finally brought them back together for a reason? Maya Johnson adjusted her threadbare blazer one last time before entering the gleaming glass headquarters of Horizon Innovations. At 34, she never imagined she'd be applying for a night janitorial position, but after being laid off from her teaching job and with bills piling up, she needed work, any work, to support herself and her 10-year-old daughter, Lily. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The lobby was intimidatingly pristine, all polished marble and soft ambient lighting. Maya clutched her folder of references and certifications tighter as she approached the reception desk, where a polished young woman with a perfect blonde bob tapped away at a keyboard. "I'm here for the night maintenance position interview," Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Maya Johnson." The receptionist barely looked up. "5th floor, HR department. Elevators are to your right." Maya nodded her thanks and headed toward the elevator, her sensible shoes silent against the gleaming floor. As the doors closed, she caught her reflection in the mirrored wall, dark circles under her eyes, her once vibrant brown hair pulled back in a practical bun, the stress of single motherhood and financial struggle etched into the fine lines around her mouth. The HR interview was brief and impersonal. The department head, Ms. Reynolds, was efficient if not particularly warm. "Your references check out, and frankly, we need someone reliable immediately. Our last night maintenance person left without notice. The pay is $15. $50 an hour, with potential for a raise after 6 months. Can you start tonight?" Maya blinked in surprise. "Tonight? Yes, I can arrange childcare." Her neighbor, Mrs. Perez, had offered to watch Lily whenever needed, and Maya couldn't afford to turn down immediate income. "Good. Report at 10 p.m. You'll receive your uniform and access badge then." Ms. Reynolds slid a packet of paperwork across the desk. "Fill these out before you leave today." 3 hours later, Maya found herself back at Horizon Innovations, this time dressed in a navy blue uniform with the company logo stitched over the pocket. The building was eerily quiet. Most employees gone for the day, just a few offices still lit on the upper floors. The maintenance supervisor, Joe, a kind-eyed man in his 60s, showed her the supply closets, service elevators, and reviewed the cleaning checklist. Main floors first, then offices, executive suite last when everyone's gone. Most bigwigs clear out by midnight, but some workaholics stay later. Maya nodded, taking mental notes. She could do this. It wasn't teaching middle school English, but it was honest work. "You'll be on this floor tonight," Joe said, handing her a ring of keys. "I'll be on the lower levels if you need anything. Just use the radio." He patted the walkie-talkie clipped to her belt. By 11:30, Maya had cleaned 2 bathrooms, vacuumed the main corridors, and was working her way through empty offices, emptying trash bins and wiping down surfaces. The monotonous work gave her mind too much space to wander, back to her classroom filled with eager students, back to the day the principal had regretfully informed her of budget cuts, back further to a different life she once thought she'd have. When she reached the end of the hall, she noticed lights spilling from beneath the door of the corner office. According to Joe's instructions, if an office was occupied, she should knock, ask if she could clean, and move on if told to return later. Maya knocked softly on the frosted glass door. When no answer came, she knocked again, slightly louder. Still nothing. Perhaps whoever was inside had stepped out and left the lights on. Following protocol, she used her master key to unlock the door, opening it slowly. "Maintenance. I'm here to." The words died in her throat as she caught sight of the man behind the massive desk. He was bent over documents, his dark hair falling across his forehead. jawline shaded with stubble that hadn't been there the last time she'd seen him. But she would recognize Elijah Carter anywhere in a crowd of thousands through the blur of 12 years, in the darkness of midnight. Her high school sweetheart. Her first love. The boy who had promised her forever before disappearing from Willowbrook without a trace the summer after graduation. Maya froze, the cleaning cart forgotten in the doorway. 1,000 memories crashed through her mind. Moonlit walks by Willowbrook Lake, whispered promises, tearful searches, unanswered calls, and finally, the crushing weight of abandonment. Elijah looked up, irritation flashing in his eyes at the interruption. Then recognition dawned, transforming his expression from annoyance to disbelief. "Maya?" His voice was deeper than she remembered, but it still sent the same shiver down her spine. "I'm sorry," she managed, gripping the door handle for support. "I didn't know. I'll come back later." "Wait!" Elijah stood so quickly his chair rolled back and hit the window behind him. "Maya Johnson? Is that really you?" Maya nodded, unable to form words. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. Of all the buildings in all of Pine Ridge City, she had to find work in his. Elijah moved around the desk, tall and broad-shouldered in an expensive charcoal suit that had replaced the faded jeans and t-shirts of his youth. Success had shaped him, refined him, but those eyes, intense, intelligent, searching, were unchanged. "You work here?" he asked, his gaze traveling to her uniform. Heat rushed to Maya's cheeks. "Just started. Tonight, actually." She straightened her shoulders. "I should go. There are other offices to clean." "No, please." He reached out as if to touch her arm but stopped himself. "I can't believe it's you." "After all this time." 12 years, Maya said flatly. "You disappeared without a word 12 years ago." Elijah's face clouded. "It wasn't. I tried to." He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar it made Maya's chest ache. "Can we talk? Please?" "There's nothing to talk about." Maya turned back to her cart, focusing on reorganizing supplies that needed no reorganizing. "I have a job to do, mister?" "Carter," he supplied. "Elijah Carter. I'm the CEO." Of course he was. The universe wasn't just cruel, it was sadistic. "Well, Mr. Carter, I'll return when you've gone for the night." "I own the company, Maya." His voice was quiet but firm. "Horizon Innovations is mine." Maya stopped fidgeting with the cleaning supplies. The CEO. She'd just snapped at the CEO on her first day. The irony was almost too much. The boy who had once carved their initials into the old oak behind Willowbrook High now controlled the building where she scrubbed toilets. "Congratulations," she said stiffly. "You've done well for yourself." Elijah stepped closer. "Maya, please, 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." She should refuse, walk away, protect what was left of her heart. But something in his expression, a vulnerability beneath the successful exterior, made her hesitate. 5 minutes. She agreed reluctantly. "Then I really need to finish my rounds." Relief washed over his face. "Thank you." He gestured to the seating area near the window, plush leather chairs arranged around a glass coffee table. "Would you like water? Coffee?" "Nothing, thank you." Maya perched on the edge of a chair, back straight, hands clasped in her lap. Elijah sat across from her, elbows resting on his knees, leaning forward as if afraid she might vanish. "I never thought I'd see you again," he said softly. "Not here. Not like this." "Life is full of surprises," Maya replied, unable to keep the bitterness from her voice. "Some people disappear without explanation. Some people find themselves cleaning offices at midnight to make ends meet." He winced. "I deserve that. I deserve worse." "I'm not interested in making you feel guilty, Elijah." That was a lifetime ago. A lifetime that still haunted her dreams, but he didn't need to know that. "Your 5 minutes are ticking." Elijah nodded. "I didn't leave by choice, Maya. My father—" He paused, collecting himself. My father was in serious trouble. Gambling debts to dangerous people. They threatened him, threatened our family. We had to leave immediately, change our names, start over. Maya stared at him. You couldn't have left a note? Called? Anything? They were watching us. My father was paranoid, with good reason. He cut off all our connections to Willowbrook, destroyed our phones, monitored our communications for years. Elijah's eyes pleaded for understanding. By the time I was free of his control, years had passed. I tried to find you, but your family had moved and no one knew where. We moved to Pine Ridge after my mother got sick. Maya said quietly, "Cancer. She needed the specialists at University Hospital. I'm sorry." Elijah's face softened with genuine regret. Is she? She passed 8 years ago. And your father? Remarried. Lives in Florida. Maya glanced at her watch. Your time is almost up. I built this company from nothing, Elijah said quickly, as if racing against the clock. Started with web design contracts in college, expanded into software, then tech innovation. We just opened this headquarters last year. Why Pine Ridge, of all places? A flush crept up his neck. I heard rumors about a Johnson family that moved here. I hoped, it might be yours. He gave a self-deprecating smile. 12 years searching, and you walk into my office. Maya absorbed this, unsure what to make of it. Had he really been looking for her all this time? And you? Elijah asked. Before this job, what were you doing? Teaching, middle school English. Budget cuts eliminated my position 3 months ago. She left out the desperate job searches, the dwindling savings, the nights spent calculating and recalculating expenses. You became a teacher, he said, a smile warming his features. Just like you always wanted. The fact that he remembered her childhood dream struck Maya unexpectedly. She stood abruptly. Your 5 minutes are up. I need to finish my shift. Elijah rose too. Have breakfast with me, tomorrow morning after your shift ends. There's a diner across the street that opens at 6. I can't. I have to get home to my daughter. The word hung between them, changing the atmosphere instantly. You have a daughter? Elijah's voice was carefully neutral. Lily. She's 10. Maya didn't elaborate, didn't mention Lily's father, a mistake from her lonely college years who had vanished at the first mention of pregnancy. 10. Elijah repeated softly, doing the math. So after we... Yes, after you. Maya moved toward her cart. I should go. What about dinner tomorrow? You could bring Lily. I'd love to meet her. Maya shook her head. This isn't a reunion, Elijah. This is me working a job I desperately need, and you happening to own the building. Let's keep it professional. The hurt in his eyes was unmistakable, but he nodded. Of course. I apologize for overstepping. Maya wheeled her cart toward the door, desperate to escape the suffocating emotions his presence evoked. Maya? Elijah called after her. She paused, but didn't turn. For what it's worth, not a day has gone by that I haven't thought of you. She closed the door without responding, her heart hammering against her ribs. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The rest of Maya's shift passed in a fog. She moved mechanically from office to office, her mind replaying every moment of the encounter with Elijah. His explanation about his father's troubles rang true. The Elijah she had known would never have abandoned her without reason. But that didn't erase 12 years of pain, of wondering, of rebuilding her life without him. By the time she clocked out at 6 a.m., exhaustion weighed on her like a physical burden. The early morning air was crisp. As she walked to the bus stop, her thoughts still tangled in the past. Maya. She turned to see Elijah jogging toward her, dressed in running clothes, a light sheen of sweat on his forehead. He must have been waiting, must have known her shift ended at 6. "Early morning run?" she asked, gesturing to his attire. "Every day," he confirmed, catching his breath. "Helps me think." An awkward silence stretched between them. "About last night," Elijah began. "I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. It was just such a shock seeing you." "For both of us," Maya conceded. "I understand if you want to keep things professional. But—" he hesitated. "I'd still like to talk. As friends, if nothing else." Maya studied him. This man who was both achingly familiar and completely unknown. "I don't know, Elijah. The diner offer stands," he said, nodding toward the small restaurant across the street. "No pressure. Just breakfast and conversation." Maya's stomach chose that moment to growl audibly. She hadn't packed enough food for her overnight shift, and the thought of a hot meal before heading home was tempting. "Just breakfast," she agreed reluctantly. "Then I really need to get home to Lily." Relief brightened Elijah's face. Of course. The diner was nearly empty. Just a few early morning workers scattered among the vinyl booths. They settled into a corner table, and a waitress promptly brought coffee. "Order whatever you want," Elijah said, scanning the menu. "Their pancakes are incredible." Maya opted for eggs and toast, while Elijah ordered the full breakfast special. When the waitress left, silence descended again, heavier than before. "Tell me about Lily," Elijah said finally. Despite her reservations, Maya couldn't help smiling. "She's amazing. Smart, stubborn, loves books and science experiments. She wants to be an astronaut." "Sounds like someone I used to know," Elijah said softly. "You were always reaching for the stars." "Dreams change," Maya replied, stirring her coffee. "Now I'm just trying to keep a roof over our heads." Elijah's expression grew serious. "Is it that bad?" Maya hadn't meant to reveal so much. "We're managing. The teaching position was stable, but this maintenance job pays almost as well, and Mrs. Perez from next door is happy to watch Lily overnight." "And Lily's father? Is he in the picture?" "He never was," Maya said shortly. "His choice." Elijah's jaw tightened. His loss. Their food arrived, providing a welcome distraction. They ate in silence for a few minutes before Elijah spoke again. "I meant what I said last night. I looked for you, Maya. For years." "Why?" The question escaped before she could stop it. "Because I never stopped loving you." The simple honesty in his voice made her chest constrict. "Because every good memory I have includes you. Because leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever done." Maya set down her fork. "Elijah, I'm not expecting anything," he added quickly. "I know too much time has passed. We're different people now. I just wanted you to know the truth." The waitress refilled their coffee cups, oblivious to the emotional currents flowing between them. "What happened after you left?" Maya asked. "You said you changed your names?" Elijah nodded. "Became the Bennett family. Moved constantly. 5 cities in 3 years. My father was paranoid, controlling. He drank heavily, monitored our every move. My mother finally left him when I was in college. And you became Elijah Carter." "My mother's maiden name." A fresh start. He took a sip of coffee. "I put myself through college with web design jobs, started Horizon from my dorm room. The rest just grew from there." "And your father?" "Died 2 years ago. Liver failure." Elijah's expression was unreadable. We weren't speaking by then. Maya absorbed this, trying to reconcile the boy she had known with the man before her, shaped by hardship and determination. "And you?" Elijah asked. "College, teaching Lily. But what else? Are you happy, Maya?" The question caught her off guard. Was she happy? She had Lily, and that joy was immeasurable. But beyond motherhood, beyond the daily struggle to provide, what did she have? Content, she said finally. Lily is everything to me. Elijah seemed to understand what she wasn't saying. I'm sorry about your teaching position. That must have been difficult. It was, Maya admitted. I loved those kids, loved watching them discover books that changed their worlds. But schools are always the first to face budget cuts. Have you applied elsewhere? Everywhere. There are no openings mid-year. Elijah hesitated, then reached across the table, his fingers lightly touching her wrist. Maya, I don't want to overstep, but Horizon has an educational outreach program. We develop software for schools, sponsor STEM initiatives. We've been looking for someone with teaching experience to head the program. Maya withdrew her hand. I don't need charity, Elijah. It's not charity, he insisted. It's a legitimate position that's been open for months. We need someone who understands both education and technology. And you think that's me? I teach literature, not computer science. You always were the smartest person I knew. You could learn the tech side. His eyes held hers. At least think about it. The starting salary is 3 times what you'd make on maintenance. Maya's heart raced at the figure. That kind of money would change everything for her and Lily. But working directly with Elijah, seeing him every day, navigating the complicated emotions he stirred, could she handle that? I'll think about it, she said carefully. Elijah smiled, transforming his face from handsome to breathtaking. It was the same smile that had captured her heart at 16, and Maya felt a dangerous flutter in her chest. Their meal complete, they stepped outside into the brightening morning. Maya checked her watch. She needed to catch the 7:15 bus to be home before Mrs. Perez left for her own job. Can I drive you? Elijah offered. My car's in the garage across the street. Maya hesitated, then nodded. Thank you, that would help. His car was sleek and expensive, with leather seats that smelled new. As they pulled away from the curb, Maya gave him directions to her apartment complex on the edge of town. They rode in silence for several minutes before Elijah spoke. I never imagined you here, in Pine Ridge. All those years searching. And you were so close. Life has a strange way of circling back, Maya said, watching the city pass by outside the window. Do you believe in second chances, Maya? Elijah asked quietly, eyes fixed on the road. The question hung in the air between them, weighted with 12 years of separation and the possibility of reconnection. I don't know, she answered honestly. Some things can't be undone. But some things can be rebuilt, he countered. Different, maybe, but stronger for having been broken. They reached her apartment building, a modest complex that had seen better days. Maya felt a flush of embarrassment as Elijah pulled up to the curb, but his expression revealed nothing but warmth. Thank you for breakfast, she said, reaching for the door handle. And the ride. Maya, Elijah's voice stopped her. Whatever you decide about the job, I'm glad I found you again. Or rather, that you found me. His sincerity was undeniable, and Maya felt something shift inside her, a crack in the wall she had built around her heart. Good night, Elijah. Or, good morning, I suppose. Will I see you tonight? He asked. For your shift, Maya nodded. I'll be there. As she climbed the stairs to her third-floor apartment, Maya felt lighter somehow, as if a weight she had carried for 12 years had begun to lift. Mrs. Perez was at the kitchen table helping Lily with breakfast. Mama! Lily rushed to hug her, all gangly limbs and boundless energy. How was your first night? Maya hugged her daughter tight, breathing in the scent of strawberry shampoo and childhood innocence. Interesting, sweetheart. Very interesting. Later, as Maya tried to sleep while Lily was at school, her mind kept returning to Elijah's question. Do you believe in second chances? Perhaps, she thought as she drifted toward sleep, some endings were really beginnings in disguise. And perhaps some loves were strong enough to find their way back, even after 12 years of silence. Less than artifact ID equals storytelling underscore script, type equals text slash markdown, title equals part 2, a second chance at sunrise, greater than the following week passed in a blur of routine for Maya. Each night she arrived at Horizon Innovations, cleaned floors, emptied trash, and wiped down surfaces. Each morning, Elijah waited for her with 2 cups of coffee and conversation that flowed more easily with each passing day. They avoided the heaviest topics: the years of separation, her financial struggles, the job offer that hung between them. Instead, they rebuilt familiarity through smaller moments: childhood memories, books they'd read, places they'd seen. Maya learned about Elijah's company, his vision for ethical technology, his dedication to his employees. He learned about Lily's science projects, Maya's favorite students, the small joys she found despite her circumstances. On Friday morning, as Maya prepared to leave after their now customary breakfast, Elijah hesitated. "I was wondering if you and Lily might like to join me for lunch tomorrow. There's this place by the river with outdoor seating and the best grilled cheese sandwiches in town." Maya tensed. Their morning conversations were one thing: private, contained, separate from her real life. But introducing Lily to Elijah meant something more, something she wasn't sure she was ready for. "I don't know, Elijah. Just as friends," he clarified quickly. "I know Lily is everything to you, and I'd like to meet her. But I understand if it's too soon." Maya thought of her daughter, of how her face lit up at the mention of space and stars, of how she'd never had a strong male figure in her life. "Let me think about it." That evening, as Maya helped Lily with homework at their small kitchen table, she studied her daughter's face. Lily had Maya's eyes and determination, but the shape of her face, her expressions, those came from a man who had vanished without looking back. "I met someone at work," Maya said carefully.
"An old friend from high school. He invited us to lunch tomorrow." Lily looked up from her math problems. "Like a date?" "No, honey. Just friends catching up." Lily's expression turned suspicious. "Is he nice?" "Yes, very nice. He owns the company where I work." Lily's eyes widened. "The big glass building? He must be rich." "That's not what matters, Lily." Maya gently corrected. "What matters is that he's kind and thoughtful." "Can I bring my astronomy book? To show him the pictures of Jupiter's moons?" Maya smiled. "I think he'd like that." The next day, Maya found herself checking her reflection in the mirror more times than she'd cared to admit. She chose a sundress she hadn't worn in months, soft blue cotton that brought out her eyes, and even applied a touch of mascara and lip gloss. "You look pretty, Mama," Lily said, clutching her beloved astronomy book. She was dressed in her favorite NASA t-shirt and denim shorts, her dark curls pulled back in 2 puffs. "So do you, Star Girl." Maya kissed the top of her daughter's head. "Ready to go?" They took the bus to the Riverside Park where they'd agreed to meet Elijah. Maya spotted him immediately, standing near the outdoor cafe, tall and unmistakable, even in casual clothes. Her heart did that inconvenient flutter again. Elijah waved when he saw them, his smile genuine but nervous. Maya recognized the same anticipation she felt mirrored in his expression. "You must be Lily," Elijah said, kneeling down to eye level with her daughter. "I'm Elijah. I'm very glad to meet you." Lily regarded him solemnly. "My mom says you own the building where she works." "That's true," Elijah nodded. "But more importantly, I was friends with your mom a long time ago." "Before I was born?" "Yes, before you were born." His eyes flickered to Maya. "We've known each other since we were not much older than you." Lily seemed to accept this, then thrust her book forward. "Do you like space?" Elijah's face lit up. "I love space. In fact, Horizon Innovations is working on software for the next Mars rover." Lily gasped. "Really? Can I see it?" "Lily," Maya cautioned. "That's probably confidential." "Actually," Elijah said, "we're having a community open house next Saturday. The development team will be demonstrating the software. You both should come." Maya felt a pang of worry. Every interaction seemed to draw them closer into Elijah's world, making the boundaries she'd tried to maintain increasingly porous. They settled at a table overlooking the river, and Elijah proved remarkably adept at conversing with a 10-year-old. He asked Lily about her favorite subjects in school, listened attentively to her detailed explanation of Jupiter's moons, and shared stories about the time he'd visited NASA's Kennedy Space Center. Watching them, Maya felt a bittersweet ache. This was what Lily had missed, a man who looked at her with genuine interest, who encouraged her curiosity, who didn't find her enthusiasm overwhelming. This was what Maya had missed too: partnership, shared joy in her daughter, adult conversation that stimulated her mind. Mom says you were friends in high school, Lily said between bites of her grilled cheese. Did you go to prom together? Maya nearly choked on her lemonade. Elijah's eyes crinkled with amusement. We did, he confirmed. Your mom wore a dark blue dress with silver stars on it. She looked like the night sky. You remember that? Maya asked, surprised. I remember everything about that night, Elijah said softly. It was one of the best nights of my life. A comfortable silence fell, broken only by Lily's occasional questions about space and Elijah's patient answers. When lunch was finished, they walked along the riverfront, Lily skipping ahead to feed the ducks with breadcrumbs Elijah had thoughtfully requested from the cafe. She's amazing, Elijah said, watching Lily. Smart, curious, kind, just like her mother. She's the best thing that ever happened to me, Maya replied honestly. Have you thought more about the position? Elijah asked, careful to keep his voice neutral. The educational outreach role? Maya sighed. I have, but I'm worried about how it would look. The night janitor suddenly heading a department? People would talk. Let them, Elijah said simply. You're qualified. You have a teaching degree and experience. The rest you can learn. And what about this? Maya gestured between them. Working together would complicate things. Things are already complicated, Maya. Elijah stopped walking, turning to face her. But worth figuring out, I think. Before she could respond, Lily came running back. Can we get ice cream? Prepared to part ways, Lily surprised both adults by throwing her arms around Elijah's waist in a hug. Thanks for telling me about the Mars rover. Can we really come see it next Saturday? Elijah glanced at Maya, question in his eyes. We'll see, Maya said, not committing either way. As they watched Elijah walk toward the parking garage, Lily looked up at her mother. I like him. He doesn't talk to me like I'm stupid. No, Maya agreed softly. He never would. That night at work, Maya approached her duties with distraction. Her mind kept replaying lunch, the easy way Elijah and Lily had connected, the memories of their shared past, the future that seemed to hover just beyond reach. She was so absorbed in thought that she didn't notice the figure in the doorway of the office she was cleaning until a voice spoke. Working hard or hardly working? Maya startled, nearly knocking over her cart. Ms. Reynolds from HR stood watching her, arms crossed. Just finishing up in here, Maya said, straightening. I've been observing you, Ms. Reynolds said coldly, taking long breaks with the CEO every morning. Now I hear you had lunch with him today. Moving up quickly, aren't you? Maya felt heat rise to her face. That's not. We knew each other years ago. We're old friends. Of course you are. Ms. Reynolds' tone made the words an accusation. Just remember, Johnson, some of us worked hard to get where we are. We didn't sleep our way to the top. Excuse me. Maya's embarrassment transformed instantly to anger. That is completely inappropriate. What's inappropriate is using your connection to the CEO to try to skip the ranks. I haven't done anything wrong, Maya said firmly, though her hands trembled. And I'd appreciate it if you kept your assumptions to yourself. Ms. Reynolds smiled thinly. We'll see how long your friendship lasts once your probationary period is up for review next week. After she left, Maya leaned against the wall, heart pounding. She needed this job desperately. The idea that her connection with Elijah might cost her that position was terrifying. The next morning, Maya avoided their usual breakfast meeting, slipping out a side entrance after her shift. She needed time to think, to figure out how to navigate this increasingly complicated situation. But when she arrived for her shift that evening, Elijah was waiting by the employee entrance. Concern etched on his face. Maya, is everything okay? You didn't meet me this morning. We need to talk, she said, glancing around to ensure they were alone. Not here. He led her to his office, closing the door behind them. Maya paced the spacious room, trying to organize her thoughts. Ms. Reynolds confronted me last night, she finally said. She made some very inappropriate insinuations about our relationship and implied my job might be at risk. Elijah's expression darkened. That's completely unacceptable. I'll speak with her immediately. No. Maya stopped pacing. That would only make it worse. Don't you see? This is exactly why this, whatever this is between us, is a problem. I need this job, Elijah. I can't afford to be the subject of office gossip or have people think I'm getting special treatment. Elijah ran a hand through his hair in frustration. So what are you saying? That we can't even be friends because some people might jump to conclusions? I'm saying we need boundaries, Maya insisted. Professional ones. And Lily? The open house next weekend? Are those off the table too? Maya hesitated. Lily had talked of nothing else for the past day, already planning which questions to ask the engineers about the Mars rover. She's really looking forward to it, Maya admitted. Then come, Elijah said. Both of you. It's a public event. Nothing inappropriate about a mother bringing her space-obsessed daughter to a technology demonstration. Maya wanted to argue, but he had a point. Fine. But our morning coffee meetings need to stop. And the job offer? I can't accept it. Not now. Disappointment flashed across Elijah's face, but he nodded. I understand. Your job here is secure, Maya. I promise you that. Whatever Reynolds implied, your performance review will be based solely on your work. Thank you. Maya moved toward the door, then paused. I'm not ungrateful, Elijah, for any of it. I have to be careful. I know. His smile was sad. I just found you again. I don't want to. Stand over there. Of course, Elijah smiled. My treat? Later that afternoon, as they lose you a second time. The words followed Maya throughout her shift, echoing in her mind as she cleaned and organized. I don't want to lose you a second time. The truth was, she didn't want to lose him either. But her priority had to be stability for Lily, which meant keeping her job and her reputation intact. The week passed slowly. True to her word, Maya avoided their morning meetings, though sometimes she would glimpse Elijah watching her from a distance, respecting her boundaries, but clearly hoping for more. Each time, something tugged at her heart, a feeling she'd buried long ago, but that refused to stay dormant. Saturday arrived bright and clear. Maya helped Lily get ready for the open house, smiling at her daughter's excitement as she carefully selected her outfit, her newest NASA shirt, and her good jeans. Do you think they'll let me try the software? Lily asked for the 10th time as they rode the bus to Horizon Innovations. I don't know, sweetie, but even if not, you'll get to see how it works. The headquarters had been transformed for the community event. The lobby featured interactive displays, and employees in Horizon shirts guided visitors to different demonstration areas. Maya felt a surge of pride seeing Lily's wide-eyed wonder at the technology surrounding them. They followed signs to the Mars rover demonstration on the 4th floor. The room was filled with families. Children clustered around screens where engineers showed how the software would help the rover navigate the Martian terrain. Maya, Lily! Elijah's voice rose above the crowd. He made his way toward them, casual in jeans and a Horizon Innovations polo shirt. You came. We wouldn't miss it, Maya said, watching Lily practically vibrate with excitement beside her. Come on, Elijah said to Lily, offering his hand. I'll introduce you to Dr. Chen. She's the lead engineer on the project. Maya followed as Elijah led them to a quiet corner where a woman with a kind smile was manipulating a 3D model of the rover on a large screen. Dr. Chen, I'd like you to meet a future astronaut. This is Lily Johnson and her mother Maya. Dr. Chen shook Lily's hand solemnly. I hear you're interested in space exploration. Yes. Lily clutched her astronomy book. Especially Jupiter's moons. But Mars is cool too. Would you like to try driving the rover in our simulation? Lily's eyes grew impossibly wider. Can I really? As Dr. Chen guided Lily through the simulation, Maya turned to Elijah. You arranged this, didn't you? He shrugged, a smile playing at his lips. I might have mentioned to Dr. Chen that a very special young scientist would be visiting today. Thank you, Maya said softly. This means the world to her. They stood side by side, watching Lily navigate the virtual Martian landscape with intense concentration, asking questions that impressed even the scientists around her. She's brilliant, Elijah murmured. She could do anything she sets her mind to. If she gets the chance, Maya replied. Do you know how much college costs these days? Especially for STEM fields? Elijah glanced at her. Have you considered the educational outreach position again? The salary would certainly help with college savings. Before Maya could respond, Ms. Reynolds appeared beside them, her professional smile not reaching her eyes. Mr. Carter, the mayor has arrived. He's asking for you. Thank you, Catherine. I'll be right there. Elijah turned back to Maya. Will you be here when I get back? There's something else I wanted to show Lily. We'll be here. Maya promised. As Elijah walked away, Ms. Reynolds' smile disappeared. Playing the long game, I see, using your daughter to secure your position. Maya felt anger flash through her. My daughter is here because she loves space and science. And I've already told Elijah I won't be taking the outreach position. Not that it's any of your business. Good, Ms. Reynolds said coldly. Because I've been working toward that role for 2 years, I won't let some cleaning woman with a convenient past steal it from me. As she walked away, Maya took a deep breath, trying to calm the rage building inside her. For 2 weeks she had backed down, avoided conflict, tried to be professional. But enough was enough. Catherine, Maya called, following her. A word, please. Ms. Reynolds turned, surprise evident on her face. I don't know what issue you have with me, Maya said quietly but firmly. But your behavior is unprofessional and bordering on harassment. My relationship with Elijah, professional or personal, is none of your concern. You think? Because you knew him years ago, you can just waltz in and… I think, Maya interrupted, that I'm qualified for any position I apply for based on my education and experience. And I think you're letting your insecurity cloud your judgment. Ms. Reynolds' face flushed. How dare you? Everything okay here? Elijah had returned, his expression concerned as he looked between the two women. Fine, Maya said, maintaining eye contact with Ms. Reynolds. Just a professional discussion. Ms. Reynolds forced a smile. Yes, just updating Ms. Johnson on some HR policies. After she departed, Elijah raised an eyebrow at Maya. Want to tell me what that was really about? Not right now, Maya said, nodding toward Lily, who was still engrossed in the Mars simulation. This is Lily's day. The rest of the afternoon passed pleasantly. Elijah introduced Lily to various scientists and engineers, all of whom were impressed by her knowledge and enthusiasm. By the time they were ready to leave, Lily was clutching a Horizon Innovations tote bag filled with educational materials, a model of the Mars rover, and a business card from Dr. Chen, who had invited her to email questions anytime. This was the best day ever, Lily declared as they prepared to leave. Thank you, Mr. Elijah. You're very welcome, Lily, Elijah smiled. Maybe you can come back sometime. We have internship programs for high school students. Something to think about for the future. In the lobby, Elijah pulled Maya aside while Lily examined a holographic display. Can we talk? Tomorrow, maybe? Maya hesitated. I don't know, Elijah. Please. There are things I need to say, and I'd rather not do it at work. Looking into his eyes, Maya found she couldn't refuse. Tomorrow. The park where we had lunch. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept replaying her confrontation with Ms. Reynolds, wondering if she had made a terrible mistake. By standing up for herself, had she put her job at risk? But then she remembered Elijah's promise. Your job here is secure. Did she trust him to keep that promise? Did she trust him at all? 12 years was a long time. People changed. She certainly had. The next morning, Maya met Elijah at the Riverside Park. Lily was spending the day with Mrs. Perez, giving them privacy to talk. She found him waiting on a bench overlooking the water, 2 coffee cups beside him. Old habits, he said sheepishly as she sat down. I got your favorite hazelnut latte. You remember that? Maya accepted the cup, surprised. I remember everything about you, Maya. His voice was quiet, sincere. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Maya sipped her coffee, waiting. I never stopped looking for you, Elijah began. Even when I was building Horizon, even when I was with other people, there was always this space in my life where you should have been. Elijah, please, let me finish. He took a deep breath. When my father finally died, I felt free for the first time in years. Free to search for you openly. Free to return to Willowbrook. But by then your family was gone, and no one knew where to find you. We moved for my mother's treatment, Maya said softly. After she died, there was nothing left for us there. I understand that now. But at the time, all I knew was that I had lost you again. Elijah turned to face her fully. Then 2 weeks ago, you walked into my office, and suddenly everything made sense. Why I chose Pine Ridge for headquarters. Why nothing ever felt complete. Maya's heart raced. What are you saying, Elijah? I'm saying I love you, Maya. I never stopped. And I hope, that there's still something between us worth exploring. The words hung in the air between them, beautiful and terrifying in their honesty. "It's not that simple," Maya said finally. "We have different lives now. You run a multi-million-dollar company. I'm a single mother struggling to make ends meet. None of that matters to me." "But it matters to me," Maya insisted. "I can't be the charity case you rescued. I need to stand on my own feet, for Lily's sake if not my own." Elijah was quiet for a moment. "What if you took the educational outreach position? We've been through this. People would talk." "Let me finish," Elijah said gently. "What if you took the position, but I wasn't your direct supervisor? What if you reported to the director of community relations instead? You'd be evaluated on your own merits, with no interference from me." Maya considered this. "That might work professionally, but personally, we'd still be in a complicated situation." "Life is complicated, Maya." Elijah took her hand, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. "But some complications are worth it." Maya looked down at their joined hands, remembering how perfectly they had fit together years ago, marveling at how they still did. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Not just of what people might think, but of getting hurt again, of Lily getting hurt." "I would never intentionally hurt either of you," Elijah promised. "But I can't guarantee a perfect future. No one can. All I know is that finding you again feels like a miracle, and I don't want to waste this second chance." A memory surfaced, Elijah at 17, standing beneath the stars at Willowbrook Lake, promising her the moon and more. She had believed him then, with the absolute faith of first love. Could she believe him now, with the wisdom of experience and the caution of motherhood? "I need time," Maya said finally, "to think about the job, about us. This is all happening so fast." Elijah nodded, disappointment visible in his eyes, but acceptance too. "Take all the time you need. I've waited 12 years. I can wait a little longer." As they parted ways, Maya felt torn between hope and fear. The sensible choice would be to maintain distance, to protect herself and Lily from potential heartbreak. But her heart argued otherwise, reminding her of the connection that had somehow survived 12 years of separation. That night, as Maya tucked Lily into bed, her daughter asked unexpectedly, "Do you like Mr. Elijah, Mama?" Maya paused, considering how to answer. "Yes, I do. We were very close once." "Do you love him? Like in the movies?" "It's complicated, sweetie." Lily rolled her eyes with the exasperation only a 10-year-old could muster. "Grown-ups always say that. But is it really? Don't you just know if you love someone?" Out of the mouths of babes, Maya thought. "Sometimes you do. But sometimes love isn't enough. There are other things to consider." "Like what?" "Like stability, security, making sure we can take care of ourselves." Lily was quiet for a moment. "Miss Peterson says I'm really good at science. She thinks I could get a scholarship someday." "I know you could." Maya stroked her daughter's hair. "You're brilliant." "But I'd still need help, right? For college and stuff?" "Yes, but don't worry about that now. We'll figure it out." Lily yawned, her eyes growing heavy. "I think Mr. Elijah would help us figure it out. He knows about space and science. And he looks at you the way Prince Charming looks at Cinderella." Maya smiled despite herself. "Does he now?" "HMM. Like your magic." Lily's voice was fading as sleep claimed her. "And you look at him the same way." Long after Lily had fallen asleep, Maya sat in their small living room, turning Elijah's offer over in her mind. The educational outreach position would change everything. Better pay, regular hours, work she was passionate about. But was it worth the risk? Could she trust that Elijah's feelings were genuine and lasting? As dawn broke, Maya made her decision. She would take the job, not for Elijah, but for herself and Lily. She would prove her worth on her own merits. And as for the rest, she would take it one day at a time, allowing her heart the chance to trust again, allowing herself the possibility of happiness she had long denied. Because maybe, just maybe, some loves were strong enough to withstand time and distance. And maybe second chances didn't come along every day. Less than/artifact greater than Maya arrived at Horizon Innovations for her shift on Monday with a sense of determination. The weekend had given her time to reflect on Elijah's words, on the opportunity before her, and on the walls she'd built around her heart over the years. As she pushed her cleaning cart through the quiet corridors, her mind kept returning to Lily's simple observation. He looks at you the way Prince Charming looks at Cinderella. Children saw truth that adults often missed, unfiltered by past hurts and practical concerns. Near midnight, Maya found herself on the executive floor. She paused outside Elijah's office, surprised to see light spilling from beneath the door. She knocked softly. "Come in," his voice called. Elijah sat behind his desk, surrounded by stacks of papers and multiple computer screens. He looked up, fatigue evident in the shadows beneath his eyes, but his face brightened when he saw her. "Maya, I didn't expect to see you tonight. I thought executives kept bankers' hours," she said lightly, wheeling her cart inside. "End of quarter reports," he explained, gesturing to the paperwork. "I'd rather work late than miss Saturday with Lily." The casual mention of spending time with her daughter caught Maya off guard. It was as if he already considered them a unit, a family of sorts. "About that job offer," Maya began, moving to empty his trash bin. "I've been thinking about it." Elijah set down his pen, giving her his full attention. "And? If the position reports to someone other than you, and if I'm evaluated fairly like any other employee, I'd like to accept." Relief and joy spread across his face. "Really? That's wonderful, Maya. But," she continued, holding up a hand, "I want to finish out my 2 weeks in maintenance first. I don't want special treatment." "Of course," Elijah agreed quickly. "Whatever you're comfortable with." Maya placed the empty trash bin beside his desk. "And about us. I'm not making any promises, Elijah. I need to take this slowly." "I understand." His eyes held hers steadily. No pressure, no expectations. Just possibility. Possibility. Maya echoed softly. The word felt right. Neither a commitment nor a rejection, but an open door. "I can work with that." As she turned to leave, Elijah called after her. "Maya, thank you for giving us a second chance." She offered a small smile over her shoulder. "I'm giving myself a second chance, too." The next 2 weeks passed in a whirlwind of transitions. Maya completed her maintenance shifts with diligence, then spent her days preparing for her new role. Elijah arranged for her to meet with the Director of Community Relations, Angela Torres, a warm woman in her 50s who seemed genuinely excited about Maya's teaching background. "We've needed someone who actually understands educational needs," Angela explained during their first meeting. "Engineers are brilliant, but they sometimes forget not everyone thinks like they do." Maya's initial nervousness about the role gradually gave way to excitement. The educational outreach program was designed to introduce underserved schools to technology and STEM opportunities, exactly the kind of meaningful work she had always wanted to do. Meanwhile, Elijah kept his promise about professional boundaries, maintaining a respectful distance at work. But outside of Horizon, their relationship cautiously blossomed. Weekend outings with Lily became a regular occurrence. Visits to the Science Museum, picnics in the park, even a day trip to the planetarium in the next city. Watching Elijah with her daughter stirred emotions Maya had long suppressed. He treated Lily with genuine respect, taking her questions seriously and encouraging her curiosity without condescension. For her part, Lily flourished under his attention, her interest in science and space growing alongside her obvious affection for Mr. Elijah. On Maya's last night as part of the maintenance staff, she found a small package waiting in her locker. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a tiny key. The note read, "To new doors opening, proud of you. A." Maya fastened it around her wrist, the metal cool against her skin. It wasn't an expensive gift, but the sentiment behind it warmed her heart. Elijah understood that she didn't want grand gestures or lavish presents. She wanted recognition, respect, and genuine connection. Her first day in the educational outreach department arrived with both excitement and trepidation. Maya had selected her outfit carefully, professional but approachable, a blue blouse and tailored pants that made her feel confident. Angela greeted her warmly, introducing her to the small team she would be working with. "Everyone, this is Maya Johnson, our new educational outreach coordinator. Maya comes to us with 6 years of teaching experience and a passion for making STEM accessible to all students." Maya noticed the curious glances, the whispered conversations that paused when she approached. News of her connection to Elijah had clearly spread throughout the company, but Angela's introduction had emphasized her qualifications. not her personal life. And for that, Maya was grateful. Her new office was small but bright, with a window overlooking the city. On her desk sat a potted plant with a simple card: "Grow where you're planted." "Your team?" The gesture brought unexpected tears to Maya's eyes. Perhaps this transition wouldn't be as difficult as she had feared. By mid-morning, Maya was deep in research about local school districts when a knock came at her door. Ms. Reynolds stood in the doorway, her expression unreadable. "May I come in?" she asked stiffly. Maya nodded, bracing herself for another confrontation. Ms. Reynolds closed the door behind her. "I owe you an apology, Ms. Johnson. My behavior was unprofessional and unwarranted." The words were clearly difficult for her to say, and Maya suspected they hadn't come entirely voluntarily. "Thank you for saying that," Maya replied carefully. "I've been with Horizon for 5 years," Ms. Reynolds continued. "I've worked hard to advance. When I heard about your history with Mr. Carter and then saw how quickly you were moving from maintenance to management, I jumped to conclusions." "Unfair conclusions?" Maya pointed out. "Yes." Ms. Reynolds hesitated. "Angela Torres explained your background to me, your teaching experience, your degree. You are qualified for this position." The admission seemed to cost her, but Maya appreciated the effort. "Thank you. And for what it's worth, I declined this position initially because I was concerned about exactly the perception you had." Surprise flickered across Ms. Reynolds' face. "You did?" "I did. I don't want special treatment. I want to earn my place here." A moment of understanding passed between the women. Not friendship, perhaps, but a tentative truce. "Well," Ms. Reynolds said, moving toward the door, "welcome to Horizon, Ms. Johnson, officially." As the days passed, Maya settled into her new role with growing confidence. She developed outreach programs for local schools, coordinated with engineers to create age-appropriate demonstrations, and began planning a summer STEM camp for middle school girls. The regular hours transformed her life with Lily. No more overnight shifts meant breakfast together every morning, helping with homework in the evenings, and tucking her daughter into bed each night. The improved salary meant less financial stress, a few new clothes for both of them, and the beginning of a college savings account. And then there was Elijah. True to his word, he maintained professional distance at work, treating her exactly as he did other department heads. But evenings and weekends found them growing closer, rebuilding the connection that time and circumstance had interrupted. One evening, as they walked along the river after dinner with Lily, Elijah asked the question Maya had been expecting. "Would you and Lily like to see my house? Maybe for dinner this weekend?" It was a significant step, moving their relationship from public spaces to his private domain, acknowledging the deepening of their connection. "I'd like that," Maya said after a moment. "And I know Lily would too." Elijah's home was not what Maya had expected. Rather than the modern mansion or sleek penthouse she had imagined, it was a renovated historical home on a quiet street, large but not ostentatious, elegant but comfortable. "This was my grandparents' house," Elijah explained as he gave them a tour. "After my father forced us to leave Willowbrook, this was the only place that ever felt like home when we visited. When my grandmother passed, she left it to me." The house reflected Elijah's personality. Thoughtfully preserved historical details alongside modern comforts. Bookshelves filled with everything from classic literature to technical manuals. Spaces that invited both conversation and quiet reflection. In the backyard, a telescope stood on the patio, pointed at the darkening sky. "Is that real?" Lily gasped, running toward it. "Very real," Elijah smiled. "My grandfather taught me about the stars on this very spot. Would you like to look?" As Elijah helped Lily adjust the telescope, showing her how to focus on the moon's craters, Maya felt something settle in her chest, a certainty she hadn't allowed herself to acknowledge until now. This felt right. The three of them, together, felt right. Later, after a dinner, Elijah had prepared himself. Those cooking dreams didn't completely die, he'd explained. And after Lily had fallen asleep on the living room sofa, Maya and Elijah sat on the porch swing, a comfortable silence between them. "Thank you for tonight," Maya said softly, "for making us feel welcome." "This house has been waiting for the right people," Elijah replied, his shoulder warm against hers. "It's too big for just me." The implication hung in the air, unspoken but clear. A future together, a shared home, a a family reunited and expanded. I've been thinking, Maya began carefully, about why I've been so hesitant, why I've kept you at arm's length despite everything. Elijah remained silent, giving her space to continue. When you disappeared, it broke something in me. I've been thinking, Maya began carefully, about why I've been so hesitant, why I've kept you at arm's length despite everything. Elijah remained silent, giving her space to continue. When you disappeared, it broke something in me. Not just my heart, but my ability to trust, to believe in permanence. Maya looked up at the stars, bright and unwavering above them. Then Lily's father left before she was even born, reinforcing the lesson that people don't stay. I understand, Elijah said softly. And I can't undo that pain. No, you can't, Maya agreed. But what I've realized is that I've been using that pain as a shield, keeping everyone at a distance to avoid being hurt again. Everyone except Lily. She's different. She's my daughter. Maya smiled faintly. But I'm beginning to think that maybe it's time to lower the shield. At least a little. Elijah took her hand, his thumb tracing gentle circles on her palm. I'm not going anywhere, Maya. Not this time. Not ever again. I believe you, she whispered, surprised to realize she truly did. And that terrifies me. Elijah leaned closer, his eyes seeking permission. When Maya didn't pull away, he closed the distance between them, his lips finding hers in a kiss that felt like coming home after a long journey. Familiar yet new, comfortable yet thrilling. When they parted, Maya rested her forehead against his. We still need to take this slowly, for Lily's sake. We have all the time in the world, Elijah assured her. I'm not rushing anywhere. As summer arrived, bringing warmer days and star-filled nights, their relationship deepened at a pace that felt natural and right. Maya's work at Horizon flourished as she developed innovative educational programs that caught the attention of local schools and even the state education board. At home, Lily blossomed with the stability of Maya's new schedule and the growing presence of Elijah in their lives. He became a regular at their small apartment for dinner, helped with science homework, and introduced Lily to coding through simple games and projects. One evening, as Maya prepared dinner while Elijah and Lily worked on a model rocket at the kitchen table, she was struck by the domesticity of the scene. How easily they had formed this makeshift family, how natural it felt to have Elijah there, laughing with her daughter, passing Maya ingredients when she needed them, belonging. Do you think it will really fly? Lily asked, carefully applying another strip of paper to the rocket body. If we build it correctly, absolutely, Elijah assured her. The physics are simple. Thrust must overcome weight and drag. Can we launch it this weekend? Lily looked from Elijah to Maya, her eyes bright with excitement. I don't see why not, Maya smiled. The park has plenty of open space. Actually, Elijah said, a hint of hesitation in his voice. I was thinking we might try somewhere else. I have a surprise for both of you. Maya raised an eyebrow. A surprise? Remember how you mentioned you'd never seen the ocean? Elijah directed the question to Lily, who nodded enthusiastically. Well, I thought maybe we could drive to the coast this weekend. It's about 3 hours away, but we could stay overnight, launch the rocket on the beach, and you could finally see the Atlantic. Lily gasped, turning to Maya with pleading eyes. Can we, Mom? Please? Maya hesitated. An overnight trip was another significant step, crossing yet another boundary in their carefully evolving relationship. We'd have separate rooms, of course, Elijah added quietly, reading her concerns. There's a small inn right on the shore that I know. Family-owned, nothing fancy, but the views are incredible. Looking at Lily's hopeful expression and Elijah's sincere one, Maya found she couldn't say no. More importantly, she didn't want to. That sounds wonderful. The coastal trip proved to be a turning point. Watching Lily's face as she saw the ocean for the first time, her expression of pure wonder and joy, was a moment Maya knew she would treasure forever. Even more precious was sharing that moment with Elijah, his hand warm in hers as they stood on the shore, the three of them connected by something deeper than words. They built sandcastles, launched the rocket, which flew spectacularly before landing in the gentle surf, collected shells, and ate ice cream on the boardwalk. As evening fell, they sat on the beach, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. This is the best day ever, Lily declared, leaning against Elijah's shoulder as she sorted through her shell collection. It is pretty perfect, Maya agreed, catching Elijah's eye over Lily's head. His smile held a question, one that had been growing between them for weeks. Later, after Lily had fallen asleep in her room at the inn, Maya and Elijah sat on the balcony of his room, listening to the waves crash against the shore. "I've been thinking," Elijah said, his voice blending with the rhythm of the sea. "My house is too big for one person. It always has been." Maya knew where this was heading, but let him continue. "There's plenty of room for you and Lily. The school district is excellent, and it's only 15 minutes from Horizon. Lily would have her own room, a yard, space for a real telescope." He paused, gathering courage. "I'm not asking for marriage, Maya. Not yet. Just sharing our lives more fully." Maya looked out at the moonlit ocean, considering his words. A year ago, she would have dismissed the idea immediately. Too frightened of dependency. Too protective of her hard-won independence. But now, "What about my apartment?" she asked. Not a refusal, but a practical consideration. "Keep it for now," Elijah suggested. "Think of this as an experiment. If it doesn't work out, you have your place to return to." The safety net he offered spoke volumes about his understanding of her fears, his respect for her need for security. "I'll need to talk to Lily first," Maya said finally. "This affects her as much as us." "Of course." Elijah took her hand, bringing it to his lips. "Whatever you decide, I'll support it." The conversation with Lily came the next morning as they walked along the shore, collecting more shells for her growing collection. "How would you feel if we moved in with Elijah?" Maya asked carefully. "Not right away, but maybe soon." Lily's face lit up. "In his big house with the telescope? And the garden?" "Yes, that house. Would I still have my own room?" "Definitely. Maybe even a bigger one." Lily considered this, her expression surprisingly serious for a 10-year-old. "Would he be like a dad?" The question caught Maya off guard. "I don't know, sweetheart. Would you want that?" Lily kicked at the sand, suddenly shy. "Maybe. I never had a dad before. But if I did have one, I'd want him to be like Elijah." Tears pricked at Maya's eyes. "He cares about you very much, you know." "I know." Lily looked up, her expression clearing. "I think we should move in with him. But can I bring all my space posters?" Maya laughed, hugging her daughter close. "Every single one." The move happened gradually over the next month. Weekends were spent bringing boxes of their belongings to Elijah's home, finding places for Maya's books alongside his, hanging Lily's space posters in what became her room, blending 3 separate lives into one shared existence. They established new routines. Elijah made breakfast while Maya packed Lily's lunch. Family dinners became a nightly ritual, and weekends were filled with outings and projects. It wasn't perfect. There were adjustments and occasional tensions as they navigated their new dynamic, but it felt right in a way Maya hadn't expected. One evening, about 3 months after they had fully moved in, Maya found Elijah in his study, working late on a project proposal. She watched him from the doorway, struck by how deeply he had become woven into the fabric of her life. "Lily's asleep," she said softly. "She wants you to check her science project before school tomorrow." Elijah looked up, his face softening at the sight of her. "I'll look at it first thing in the morning." Maya entered the room, perching on the edge of his desk. "You're so good with her. Patient in ways her teachers often aren't. She makes it easy. She's brilliant and curious, just like her mother." Maya smiled, reaching out to brush a strand of hair from his forehead. "I've been thinking about something Lily asked me back when we were discussing moving in." "Oh?" Elijah set aside his work, giving her his full attention. "She asked if you would be like a dad to her." Maya watched his reaction carefully. "I didn't know how to answer." Emotion flickered across Elijah's face. Surprise, hope, uncertainty. "What do you want the answer to be?" "I want her to have someone who will always be there for her. Someone who will encourage her dreams, support her through failures, celebrate her successes." Maya's voice softened. "Someone who loves her unconditionally." "I already do," Elijah said simply. "Love her, I mean. How could I not? She's part of you, and I've loved every part of you since we were 17. The words hung in the air between them, honest and unguarded. "You know," Maya said after a moment, "we never really talked about the future. Back then, before you left, we were going to travel the world," Elijah reminded her with a gentle smile. "After college, you were going to write about our adventures, and I was going to photograph them." "Young dreams," Maya mused. Different from what we have now. Better in some ways, Elijah suggested. More grounded in reality, in who we've become. Maya nodded, a decision crystallizing in her mind. I think I'm ready. For what? To stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. To stop expecting you to disappear. She met his gaze steadily. To fully commit to this, to us, without reservations. Elijah stood, moving to stand before her, his hands framing her face with infinite tenderness. Maya Johnson, are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying I love you, Elijah Carter. I never stopped, even when I tried. And I'm ready to build a future with you. Me and Lily both. His kiss was an answer, a promise, a beginning. The following months brought changes both subtle and profound. Elijah formally petitioned to adopt Lily, a process made easier by the absence of her biological father from the birth certificate. Lily, now 11 and ever practical, had a single question when they explained adoption to her. Does this mean I can put Dad on my Father's Day card instead of Elijah? At work, Maya's educational outreach program expanded beyond Pine Ridge to neighboring communities, bringing technology access to rural schools that had previously been overlooked. Her success earned her a promotion to Director of Educational Initiatives, a role that allowed her to develop a broader vision for Horizon's community impact. Elijah, meanwhile, began stepping back from the day-to-day operations of Horizon, delegating more responsibilities to his leadership team. I built this company because I had nothing else, he explained when Maya questioned the change. Now I have everything that matters. I want time to enjoy it. On a crisp autumn evening, exactly 1 year after Maya had first entered Elijah's office with her cleaning cart, he suggested a walk through the garden behind their home. The space had been transformed over the months they'd lived there. Maya had planted herbs and flowers, Lily had insisted on a vegetable patch, and Elijah had installed a more powerful telescope on a permanent mount. As they strolled among the plants, Maya noticed Elijah seemed unusually nervous, his hands fidgeting in his pockets. Is everything okay? She asked. You seem distracted. I've been thinking, he began, then stopped, seeming to reconsider his words. Actually, I've been planning something, and I'm not sure if the timing is right. Maya raised an eyebrow. Planning what? Instead of answering, Elijah led her to a stone bench beneath an old oak tree. Do you remember our first real date? Back in high school? Of course. The winter formal. You wore a blue tie that matched my dress, and we snuck out early to look at the stars. And I told you then that someday, we'd have our own place where we could watch the stars whenever we wanted. Elijah took both her hands in his. I never imagined it would take this long to fulfill that promise. Understanding dawned as Elijah slipped from the bench to one knee, still holding her hands. Maya Johnson, I have loved you across time and distance, through absence and reunion. You are the stars I've been reaching for my entire life. He released one of her hands to withdraw a small box from his pocket. Will you marry me? The ring inside was not the ostentatious diamond she might have expected from a successful CEO, but a delicate band of silver with a small sapphire surrounded by tiny stars. An echo of the dress she'd worn to their high school prom, of the night sky they'd shared, of dreams deferred but never forgotten. Yes, Maya whispered, tears blurring her vision. 1,000 times, yes. From the shadows of the garden came a small squeal of delight. Lily emerged from behind a shrub, camera in hand. She said yes, she called toward the house. Operation Forever, family is a go. Maya laughed through her tears. You were in on this? Dad said I could document the historical moment, Lily explained, using the term that had become natural over the past months. For the family album. As Elijah slipped the ring onto Maya's finger, she was struck by the journey that had brought them to this moment, from the scared teenagers they had been, through years of separation and growth, to finding each other again when they least expected it. I have something for you too, Maya said once Lily had finished taking photos and had run inside to call Mrs. Perez with the news. It's not as dramatic as a ring, but she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small brass key, similar to the one he had given her on her last day as part of the maintenance staff, but older, more worn. My key to the Willowbrook Library, she explained. I kept it all these years, even after we moved away. It was my talisman, I guess. A reminder of the girl I used to be, the dreams I used to have. She pressed it into his palm. I don't need it anymore. I've found those dreams again, Different, but better. Elijah closed his fingers around the key, understanding the significance of the gesture. From locked doors to open ones, he murmured. From separate paths to a shared journey, Maya added, leaning forward to seal the promise with a kiss. Their wedding was held the following spring in the garden behind their home, small and intimate, with only their closest friends and family in attendance. Lily served as Maya's maid of honor, proudly wearing a dress patterned with constellations that she had helped design. As Maya walked toward Elijah, who waited beneath an arch of flowers with tears in his eyes, she marveled at the unexpected turns life could take. From a desperate application for a night janitor position to this moment of profound joy, a journey she could never have predicted but now couldn't imagine any other way. Their vows were simple but heartfelt, acknowledging both their shared past and the future they were building together. As they exchanged rings, Maya caught sight of Mrs. Perez dabbing at her eyes in the front row, beside Angela Torres and even Ms. Reynolds, whose initial hostility had gradually transformed into grudging respect and eventually genuine friendship. At the reception, Dr. Chen presented Lily with an official invitation to Horizon's summer science camp for gifted students, along with news that NASA had agreed to participate with virtual sessions from actual astronauts. Lily's squeal of delight was possibly heard in the next county. Later, as twilight settled over the garden and fairy lights twinkled among the trees, Maya and Elijah swayed together on the small dance floor. "Happy?" he murmured against her hair. "Beyond words," she replied, resting her head on his shoulder. "Did you ever imagine, when you found me sleeping in your hotel room, that we'd end up here?" Elijah chuckled. "That was the wrong scenario. You found me working late in my office." "Right," Maya laughed. "Sometimes I mix up our story with one of those romance novels Lily's been sneaking from the library." "Our story is better," Elijah said, spinning her gently under the stars. "It's real." Across the garden, Lily was deep in conversation with Dr. Chen, gesturing excitedly about something on a tablet screen between them. Her future stretched before her, bright with possibilities that once would have seemed impossible for a single mother's daughter from a small town. As for Maya, she had found that second chances came in many forms: a new career, a rekindled love, a family made whole. The path hadn't been straight or easy, but standing here in the circle of Elijah's arms, with their daughter nearby and their home surrounding them, she knew with absolute certainty that every step had led exactly where she was meant to be. 3 years later, Maya stood in the doorway of Horizon Innovations' newest initiative, the Carter Johnson STEM Academy for Girls, a fully funded school designed to nurture the next generation of female scientists, engineers, and innovators. As the founding director, she had overseen every aspect of its development, from curriculum design to teacher selection. "Nervous?" Elijah asked, joining her as she surveyed the empty hallways that would soon be filled with students. "A little," Maya admitted. "It's a big responsibility. If anyone can handle it, you can." He slipped an arm around her waist. "You've already changed so many lives through the outreach program." "We've changed lives," Maya corrected, leaning into his embrace. "Together." Their partnership had expanded beyond the personal to the professional. While Elijah remained CEO of Horizon, he had gradually shifted the company's focus to include substantial educational and community initiatives, with Maya leading many of these efforts. The academy represented their shared vision, creating opportunities for children like Lily, especially girls from disadvantaged backgrounds who might otherwise never discover their potential in STEM fields. Speaking of Lily, the 14-year-old rounded the corner, clipboard in hand, all business in her role as junior consultant to the academy. "Mom, Dad, the science lab equipment just arrived. Dr. Chen is checking it now," she consulted her notes. "And the NASA liaison called to confirm next week's virtual tour of the International Space Station for the opening ceremony." Maya smiled at her daughter's efficiency. The shy 10-year-old who had once clutched an astronomy book like a lifeline had blossomed into a confident teenager with clear goals and boundless enthusiasm. Already taking advanced placement classes, Lily had her sights set on MIT or Caltech, with dreams of joining NASA's astronaut program. "Thanks, Stargirl," Elijah said, using the nickname that had stuck over the years. "Why don't you go help Dr. Chen while your mom and I finish up here?" Once Lily had hurried away, Maya turned to Elijah. "Should we tell her tonight?" Elijah's face softened. "I think so. She's been asking for a sibling for years. She'll be thrilled." Maya rested a hand on her still flat stomach, where their second child, a surprise but very much wanted, had just begun to grow. I hope she doesn't mind giving up her position as only child after all this time. Are you kidding? She'll appoint herself chief educator and junior astronaut trainer. Elijah kissed her forehead. Our family is expanding, just like our dreams. As they walked through the academy hand in hand, Maya reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From a desperate job application to a chance reunion, from cautious reconnection to profound partnership, each step had been necessary. Each challenge overcome had strengthened them. What are you thinking about? Elijah asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. About how life rarely goes according to plan, but sometimes the unexpected path leads exactly where you need to be. Maya squeezed his hand. I applied for a janitor job and found my way home, and I was working late, as usual, when the best part of my life walked through the door. Elijah's eyes shone with the same love that had sustained them through separation and reunion, through challenges and triumphs. Some might call it luck. I call it destiny. Maya smiled, thinking of the nervous woman in a worn blazer who had entered Horizon Innovations that first night, unaware that she was stepping not just into a job, but into a future brighter than she had dared to imagine. Maybe it's both, she suggested. Luck gets you through the door, but what you build after that, that's up to you. Together they walked toward the future they had created. Not perfect, but real and rich with possibility. A second chance that had become a new beginning. A love interrupted but never truly lost. A family forged through choice rather than chance. And as they joined Lily in the state-of-the-art laboratory that would soon inspire hundreds of young minds, Maya knew with absolute certainty that some journeys, no matter how unlikely or challenging, led exactly where you were meant to be all along. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.